Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is August 13th, 2026. My name is Mike Kelly. I'm the chair of the Board of County Commissioners for Johnson County, Kansas. We are here for a meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. We'd like to start by asking the clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer here.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick here.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Here.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Allenbrand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. All are present, therefore we have a quorum, a duly constituted meeting. I'd invite those who are so able to join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here today or for watching online. If you are here in person, I'd invite you to join me in checking your cell phone or any other noise-making device that you may have brought with you today and making sure that it is turned to silent. We really appreciate your cooperation there. We're going to start today with the public comment portion of the agenda. This is an opportunity for speakers to address county matters that do not appear on today's agenda. We do ask the people who want to speak on action items on today's agenda to please register their public comment with that action item. If you happen to speak on an action item during this general public comment session, we're going to ask you to refrain at this time and hold the comments until the item is considered. When you do come to the dais, we ask that you state your name and the community in which you reside. We limit these comments to 2 minutes. There's a clock on either side of the dais that will assist you with that time period. If you happen to go beyond the time period, we will let you know that the time has elapsed, allow you to conclude your comments. We do ask that the comments refrain from remarks that are personally offensive, impertinent, profane, slanderous, any remarks that would insult or demean any person or groups of persons. If we happen to stray into that kind of public comment, we provide a warning. If it continues, we're going to ask that you step aside from the dais. Today, we do accept public comments virtually, though. We don't have any registered virtual public commenters. We do have one in-person public commenter, and so we'll welcome Mr. Brian Perkins.
Good morning, Brian Perkins here. I reside in Licton, Kansas, and I am homeless. It's hot. People are hungry. People are thirsty. People are desperate. And the amount of people that are struggling to stay afloat in Johnson County and also experiencing homelessness is continuing to grow. I saw Joanne recently. I know some of you know of her. And this woman, her hair is dripping like she just took a shower. And that hug was the most depleting thing on the face of this earth. And we go our own ways, you know, and I just sit there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how do I help this woman? I don't know how to help her. We need your help. Dave, that I spoke about last week, that is 75, will be back in homelessness September 1st because of the lack of rental assistance in Johnson County. I don't believe this is us. We need the revolving loan fund to come to fruition. I really would love to have it primarily focused on the 30 to 40% AMI. We start there, we can figure out the rest, but there's a lot of people that have income benefits like Dave, like Joanne, that cannot get a place to live. Shelter, transitional housing units, affordable housing. The Built for Zero initiative, it works. It's proven, it's been proven in the 4th largest city in the nation. Not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's not going to take some thriving through differences. It's going to take some tough conversations for sure, but you have the people. I've said it before, myself included, I'm here. Eden Village, I'm going to continue to advocate for them. When I tell you they just need help with the land and the rest is done, the partnerships are there. 30 homes are ordered. They're still working on the foundation for the land. Now, it's done. Millions of dollars donated. They just need help with the land. I know we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. That's the only public comment that we have registered for today's meeting. Therefore, at this time, I'm going to move to notes for the record. I'd like to note for the record that I'm going to be signing a request for consent to assignment of contract 2025-003. This is a pharmacy plan administration from Capital RX to Judy RX. FKA capital RX. With that, we move on to our business session. We have a proposed consent agenda of routine matters on the agenda. At this time, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written? Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Allen Brand, second.
So moved by Commissioner Hanslick and seconded by Commissioner Allen Brand. At this time, will the clerk please call the roll on the consent agenda?
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick, aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen Brand.
Allen Brand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. We have 7 votes in favor and none against. Is that consistent with your count?
It is.
Very good. Thank you very much. At this time, we move on to the action agenda. And to start the action agenda, I need to temporarily recuse myself from an item. And I invite Commissioner Hanslick to take the gavel at this time.
Thank you, Chair. Out of respect for those who may be in attendance or watching online who are here for item 8, I am going to move forward this item to the top of our action agenda. If you recall, this is the added agenda item as requested by Commissioner Ashcraft. At this time, I'm going to ask the clerk to read the item for the record.
Consideration of the 5th District Commissioner's request to consider adopting Resolution Number 115-26, finding that the City of DeSoto's proposed TIF redevelopment district, DeSoto Storage LLC Assisted Living and Memory Care Project, will have an adverse effect on Johnson County and disapproving its establishment pursuant to KSA 12-1771D, or in the alternative, decline to exercise the board's disapproval authority under that statute. This item appears on the agenda to preserve the board's statutory window to act, which closes on or about August 15th, 2026, 30 days after the city's July 16th, 2026 public hearing.
Thank you, Clerk. At this time, I invite Mr. Norris with the County Manager's Office to present information on this item. Mr. Norris?
Yes, thank you. As was read into the record, the City of DeSoto held a public hearing on July 16th to consider establishing a TIF redevelopment district on approximately 3 acres. It's at 8870 Commerce Drive to support construction of a 34,000 square foot, 53-unit assisted living and memory care facility in DeSoto. This would be operated by Midwest Health, who's based in Topeka. According to the August 10th, 2026 letter to the board, which is included in your packet materials, Midwest Health was founded in 1977 and headquartered, again, in Topeka, manages more than 100 senior living facilities, senior living communities throughout the Midwest, and is the largest provider of participating in Kansas Medicaid HCBS program, currently serving more than 1,000 residents receiving Medicaid HCBS benefits. I think it's to note is that the letter describes the project as 52 units, including 20 dedicated memory care apartments. The city's project plan, which proposes to capture incremental ad valorem property taxes for the full 20 years that's permitted by statute, with 50% of the increment available for eligible reimbursement development costs. In the industrial revenue, also IRB issuance for sales tax exemption on construction-only materials. That's valued at just under around $400,000. The total estimated county property taxes generated from this project over the life of the TIF is approximately $500,000. Breaking that out, $355,000 would be to county general, and then $78,000 to the library, and $63,000 to JCPRD. Under the TIF plan, half of those taxes, approximately $250,000, would be redirected to the eligible project costs here. The other half going to the county, the library, and JCPRD. The state statute KSA 12-1771D authorizes the board to disapprove of the district within 30 days following conclusion of the city's public hearing. That would be about August 15th, upon the finding that the district will have an adverse effect on the county. The city's financial analysis from their municipal advisor did not include any analysis on the impact for EMS services. So we conducted our own analysis on this. We used 2025 call volume data with similar situated facilities in Johnson County. We took that average of those 4 facilities and it came to 130 calls per facility. Our MedAc's average net cost, which is the cost to respond less our reimbursement, ranges between $250 and $337 per call or transport. Depends on if we just arrive and we don't transport or if we do transport. So that's an average. So generally speaking, MedAc recovers about half the cost of the service we provide. Applying that call volume methodology, we estimate the unreimbursed cost for of providing MedAc service to the project is between $32,500 and $43,800 annually. That's in 2027 dollars. Over the 20-year term of the TIF, that would be about approximately $830,000 to $1.1 million. This estimate rests solely on operational call volume and reimbursement data that we have, not on the personal characteristics of the residents that would be anticipated to occupy this community. When accounting for the increase in incremental assessed value not captured by the TIF, the net cost for EMS services would be $650,000 to $940,000, thereabouts. This also, I think, is important to note. This assumes that all the calls would be new to Johnson County, and I think it's fair to assume that some, if not all, or most of the residents here are current Johnson County residents. So one could say that calls would be taking place regardless of where they live. So they may not be net new calls to Johnson County. Neither the state statute or the provisions of the Kansas TIF Act really define what adverse effect is, and no reported Kansas appellate decision or Kansas Attorney General opinion construes that term in this context of what's adverse impact. In the absence of that statutory or judicial guidance, legal interprets adverse according to its original meaning, which is harmful or unfavorable, as applied to the county's financial well-being, which requires weighing the district's likely financial impact against the project's likely financial benefit to the county. As noted in the letter from Midwest Health, this project will result in approximately $15 million investment and create approximately 40 new jobs, and states that the TIF and IRB sales tax exemption are critical to the project's feasibility given the construction costs, the financing conditions, inflationary pressures, as well as kind of the challenges with this site, which is an infill site in the city of DeSoto. We outlined some alternatives in the motions here. I'm not going to read that because I've gone on long enough. So with that, I'd conclude my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. I appreciate that. Now open it up to the commissioners for any questions or comments. Commissioner Ashcraft.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just a little bit of a, excuse me, historical perspective. A number of years ago when I first came on the commission, there was a TIF that was brought forward. And within that TIF, there was a request for consideration for the Alaska Fur Company. And before that, I'd really not paid much attention to TIFs, but thought to myself, why would we be giving a tax incentive to a company providing, well, let me put it this way. They weren't furs and clothing for the impoverished or the poor. And it didn't make sense to me. So I've continued to look at these requests in that regard. And when this came forward from staff, and I do appreciate staff taking the time to do this analysis. It reinforced the issue that the business model that is being presented is a vibrant, substantial one, and to ask for a tax consideration for such a business at the cost of an impact on not just Johnson County services, but also the fire districts, which I don't believe Mr. Norris mentioned, led me to be supportive of this and submit this for consideration.
Thank you, Commissioner Ashcraft.
Madam Chair, my button's not working.
It's not working? Okay, well, I'm not sure who was next, but I will go to Commissioner Allenbrand since this is in her district.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. First of all, Ms. Trent, I do want you to know, and I made you aware that when I found out about this about a week or so ago, I reached out to you, and I did because I was upset at the way that, that it came to this at this last minute. And I had coordinated a call between the city and Health Midwest. But I did not participate in that call. So I do want to make that known. I have several comments I want to make, but I also would like to hear from Health Midwest because I feel there are some conflicting numbers and would like the whole commission to hear those, if that's appropriate this time. Can that?
Well, let me ask the other commissioners who've asked to speak if they are willing to put their comments on hold and allow Health Midwest to speak. Very good. Is there a representative here from Health Midwest that would like to speak?
Good morning. I am Jennifer Sork, and I'm General Counsel for Midwest Health. We are out of Topeka, Kansas, and we have several communities already in the Johnson County service area. We specialize in assisted living and memory care units in the state of Kansas, and we are the largest provider for Medicaid in those units. And so in looking and working with the city of DeSoto, we were reached out as a provider, as someone who may be able to provide care. And really, DeSoto does not have any memory care or assisted living units within at least a 15-mile radius. The closest one to the east is in Lenexa, and the closest one to the west is in Eudora, which is one of our sister facilities. And so when we were contacted about the opportunity, we have explored it with the developer who actually submitted the TIF application. So I think that was part of the confusion, is that we do have a construction developer who is not the operator of the building. So it's very construction-based in the application. And so we looked and analyzed and been talking with the city of DeSoto for some time to be able to provide that care to those residents, because it's a very big gap of care. For those that may not know, this is different than a skilled nursing unit. This is an assisted living unit. So individuals who are typically in Johnson County living in DeSoto, or their families are in DeSoto, this is the next level of care from being independent on their own. So we anticipate, and what we experience is that those individuals who are likely already calling services such as fire and EMS in their own apartments independently because they don't have help, move up to the next level of care of assisted living. And so we are able to provide additional oversight and assistance with activities of daily living. So, breakfast, laundry, cleaning, just keeping some eyes on those individuals, as well as having nursing staff on staff. So these are skilled jobs providing care in the city of DeSoto. And again, we are working with the city of DeSoto to also make sure there's access points with roadways and infrastructure costs, which is the majority of the TIF expense. But it is a $15 million investment, and we're excited about the opportunity and partnership with Johnson County and DeSoto. I'm happy to take any additional questions.
Well, thank you for that information. Questions? I see Commissioner Fast. You
Yeah,
have a
so
particular question?
I'm a social worker. I worked for a long time with hospice, worked with many memory care, assisted living, know Kansas HCBS very well. And in Medicaid, HCBS doesn't pay for room and board. It will pay for the services, which makes it really difficult for a lot of seniors to go in assisted living because they can't afford that room and board. And I found a lot of assisted livings, they maybe have 1, 2, or 3. There are very few Medicaid people in the assisted living because of that barrier. What would you say in your assisted livings with, that you say you're the largest producer, but in Kansas, a lot of places maybe take a handful. So, I mean, are you up, our Evergreen, I think, is 70%. I mean, what percentage in this assisted living in DeSoto will be of Medicaid HCBS?
So that is a hard number to pinpoint, and it's a sliding scale, right? Because everyone comes in with different eligibility requirements, and you have those state of Kansas requirements. So I will tell you, we have at least 2 communities in Johnson County already that are over 80% HCBS recipients, but that is a sliding scale. So we don't designate any certain apartments as HCBS, 'cause we don't have to, we choose not to. And so someone may come in 3 months and have private pay funds, and they exhaust their funds for eligibility to Medicare. And we have folks that live with us for 4 or 5 years that then eventually run out of resources and have to shift to Medicaid. So that's a difficult question, but we don't cap any of that with our residents, and that's the important part of the conversation.
Commissioner Brewer.
Thank you. I just have a couple questions for Health Midwest, or Midwest Health, sorry.
Yes.
So Ms. Salk, I appreciate that you're here with us today. So Commissioner Fast has already helped me understand one of the questions, because the letter that is a part of our public materials was non-specific on if you are committing to a percentage of the facility dedicated to Medicaid recipients. So you've underscored that and you gave your rationale. And just for clarification, are you a nonprofit?
We are not. We're
You're not a
for-profit.
nonprofit, okay, thank you. And my other question for you is, sorry, I'm scrolling on all my fun stuff, oops, and I just lost my document. I'm gonna defer because I lost my document on my screen that had my next question, so, but I'll find it and come back if somebody else has a question for her.
Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the facility restricted to only Johnson County residents?
It is not, but typically in our experience, and we have over 100 homes here in the kind of the Plains region, Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, and Kansas, we typically find at least 90% are local community. If they're not from local, they're moving to be close to their family. So their children, siblings, those kind of things, and usually have some sort of root in the community.
And the facility in Eudora, what's percentage of it?
I looked it up. There are actually 3 Johnson County residents that live in Douglas County at the homestead of Eudora. But that, as far as percentage of Medicaid in that building, it's currently sitting about 43% of Medicaid recipients and beneficiaries. But again, that's a sliding scale. We don't, mark any apartment, and it's all just a point of time of someone's individual income.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and thank you for giving me this leadway. I want to make several comments because this was a business I was in and you were a competitor of mine. And, Medicaid, Medicare reimbursements does not cover care. And you have to have private facilities, and you have several really nice private facilities all over Johnson County. You are one of the largest communities. And one thing that I always appreciated about working with Midwest was that you didn't designate a semi-private room or a private room. You have people that are living there anymore. You have memory care and assisted living is a lot of memory care as well. You find people more in independent living, and that's just the fact. You guys have one of the highest scorings also within our state. And knowing the communities you have, I know that they carry a larger Medicaid population. I also wanted to make wanted to make a comment too, that probably the majority of these calls are already people that are living in Johnson County and need a place to live. I hear that in my district, and need a good place to go to. And the other thing I want to say too is, and Commissioner Fass and Commissioner Hanslick know this, you know, it used to be like $25 is what you had left out of Medicaid. Your facility works, and I know ours did as well, to help make up that difference. And there's probably going to be some of us sitting on this dais that might be in the same situation of being in a Medicaid and having a facility that will help take care of those extra things. Because if you don't have family, you're just in trouble if you don't have volunteers, you know, to help. I feel like that the developer and the owner of this operation, you know, you've been in operation for 77 years. I've known people within your communities, and still, a lot of them were my employees in my communities, and they're very happy. So anyway, I have to say that I'm hopeful in the future. I feel bad as a commissioner that I had to get involved a week before this happened. And I'm very upset, not only with the city, but I also have to say with the county manager. And I know that Adam tried to reach out, but we should have been on this. And I don't know whose fault it is, and it doesn't matter. I wish the city would have been here, because there was a long conversation that the fire chief was involved in as well, talking about reimbursement to first responders. And they're not here, and they said they weren't able to be here, but somebody should have been here. I feel like this is a good program, and if, you know, it's not Alaskan furs. This is human beings that would be either living on the streets or in a community that, all those bad communities, my kids would tell me, Mom, if you don't behave yourself, that's where I'm going to put you. And that's what they would tell me. It was kind of a joke within our family, because I would talk about some of the communities and the way they were operating. I don't know if it's appropriate, Peg, but I do have a motion to decline to decline this motion. And I think I just said it wrong, but
I think
anyway.
there's some more comments. and
Yeah, I
we'll
just
come
wanted
back
to let you know ahead of time.
Thank you. Commissioner Brewer?
Thank you for your patience. Sorry, all my stuff is electronic on the screen. right
I
in front of me.
understand.
So, a couple other questions. So DeSoto has a population of about 7,000, and your facility is going to be about 53 rooms. So are you reliant, are you designing the size of the facility in the location that it's in based on the expectation that it's because a lot of conversation at the beginning of the presentation was around the catchment area, and that for the residents of DeSoto, that the catchment area, they have to go 15 miles out before they can hit a facility. So tell me, what's the percentage, because I'm assuming this facility is going to be open to any and all potential residents. It's not limited just to Johnson County residents, as Commissioner Myers asked. It's not limited to just DeSoto residents. So what is the research that's been done to look at the size of that city, look at the location, and what the expectations are?
Yeah, so we have been in this assisted living business for 40, probably near 50 years now. So we really rely on our information internally, because we have such particularly in Johnson County and Douglas counties, we have such strong and lengthy experience. Our Homestead of Eudora is a relatively new facility, but this facility is modeled off of that experience. It's a similar demographic, similar size of town, and it also similar in location. And so it took about 18 months to fill to capacity. It's just a gradual admission process for those in need. But what is missing in this conversation is the fact that assisted living residents, once they come and live in our facility, our goal is to keep them as active and independent as long as they can be. So individuals who are living independently in their own apartment may decline faster because they don't have the ability to seek out medical attention. Somebody isn't raising an issue, even as something as simple as a infected toenail, which can be very, very tragic for someone who's elderly. And so once we have them in our facility, our typical admission average of a resident's lifespan in our facilities, I think 2.3 years. And so we're not turning over residents quickly. And so while it may seem large for that population, it's not. And based upon and I don't have the numbers memorized, but the number of seniors that live in the DeSoto in that area, in that catchment area, we feel very confident that it will be a successful project.
And I just had one more question, if that's okay, for Midwest Health, and that's just your assisted living and your memory care, and I've had a number of loved ones who have been through the assisted living to memory care. So sometimes there's a point in time where that loved one can no longer stay in certain types of facilities because maybe it's a one lift supported staff, regulation, and once they go beyond that, they have to go to a higher level of care. Help me understand how much is assisted living, how much is memory care, what's the flex, and what's the kind of the cut line when they have to go to a higher level of care than what you can provide?
I wish there was a cut line that I could articulate between assisted living and memory care, because there isn't. Every plan is individualized. Every person's medical conditions and experiences are unique. So it really depends on the individual resident, their medical care provider, and their family, and the choices that they want to make. So there isn't a threshold. However, a memory care unit is a locked unit, and so they have more restrictive ability to leave and elope is the term. Now, from assisted living to a higher level of care, again, that's individualized. However, in assisted living, we're very fortunate to have some flexibility. Our communities are two-person lifts. We do not use mechanical lifts because they are, in all the research, and I know some folks are misinformed on it, is actually they're very dangerous. We have a number of actual injuries that occur both from staff and residents for the mechanical lifts. But we are a two-person lift facility, and if we can care for that individual, we will try our best to do so and work with the family and the resident and their medical care provider to make sure that they can stay at home. And that's really what this is. This is their home.
Well, thank you, Ms. Sork. We appreciate that. I'm going to take the conversation, I think, in a little different direction. And I have a question for you, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Norris to come back to the dais because I have a question for him. But my question to you is this TIF an incremental or how important is this TIF to this project? If this TIF is not available, will this project continue? And how does this TIF fit in with your business model?
So the short answer is no. Without the TIF, we cannot build the project. And as Adam mentioned earlier, this is an infill site. So the site has not been developed historically, has a number of challenges. I am the operator and business owner, but this comes to more of a construction question. So for access points for EMS and fire to make sure they have access to our facility, we have to do certain roadway construction and concrete construction as well as the infrastructure construction. So the TIF is covering all of the lateral costs in the construction project, none of the actual sticks that go up vertical for our actual operations. So I'm not the expert on that, but at the end of the day, when we ran the numbers to pencil it out for the construction and the cost of construction, we can't make the project go without the TIF.
Okay, so the government intervention is a key part of your business plan then?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask Mr. Norris to come back up because I have another question. I've appreciated the conversation about all the services provided, but to me, the bigger issue is where does this project and where does this board need to be looking in terms of that very specific statutory clause that gives this board permission to veto a TIF if it has a, quote, adverse effect on the county? And that's one of the things I'm struggling with, because as Mr. Norris, you said, there is no statutory definition, there is no case law about this. We are left to figure this out ourselves, and it's very frustrating. I wanted to ask you, at any time, was there any recognition by the developer or any effort to try to bridge that cost gap that the county is going to be seeing most likely in terms of our EMS service to that facility? Was that discussed, and was there any interest in pursuing that kind of reimbursement or some arrangement to help make the county, if not whole, but at least more or less adverse effect?
Yes, so when we originally received this notice from the city, along with the report from the municipal advisor, our county manager's office did engage the city, which is our typical practice. We don't typically engage the developer directly unless the city prefers that approach. So we spent several weeks leading up to last week trying to engage the city and come up with a solution. I think that, I don't want to put words in the city's mouth, and they're not here, but I do think they believe the 50% level was an attempt to address that. And we have also, of late, tried to engage with the entire development team, including the city, in a way to provide some kind of consideration to offset our costs here. But yes, so to answer your question, yes, we've made attempts for several weeks.
Okay. And can you tell me, is there a precedent? Have we had other situations where developers have maybe helped bridge that gap? I guess I'm thinking like Panasonic, where they helped with the fire station and a new fire truck. Is that, can you speak to that situation? How often does that happen?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with those development agreements and those transactions as I am this, or the ones that have occurred since I've been with the county. But I do know that part of the challenge here is the specific economic development tool that's used here, which is a TIF, and that has less flexibility in what costs can be used through that vehicle to reimburse or to pay for other costs. There are lots of other economic development tools that have more flexibility associated with them that would provide a more clear bridge here, but a TIF is not as flexible. Am I? Okay.
And one final question, and I know there's some other hands. Is there a development agreement with the city of DeSoto? Because I know I'm more familiar with Overland Park, and there's development agreements that require developers to be active in the chamber or contribute to certain funds. Is there a development agreement in this situation?
I'm uncertain on the city's process specifically, but I know a lot of cities do use development agreements that memorialize expectations. This is so early in the process. This is at the stage of establishing the redevelopment district, and there are a lot of other details that have to be worked out once once that period of time expires, and then they can move forward. So I don't know if,
You explained that
okay,
very well.
yeah. So
I appreciate that, because again, I go back to the issue to me is the lack, and it's really has nothing to do with this particular project, but this is an example of, we struggle with this when TIF districts are created. There's so little information that it's very difficult to determine what adverse effect might be. I know we've had conversations in the past about trying to get more information in that regard, but it's really not come to much fruition. And not having that information, this is the first, excuse me, project in my experience where they're actually, you can put dollars and cents to an impact. Most of the time, we can't do that. And I don't want to penalize one project because this happens to have that straight line to show the impact. But to me, it's a larger issue of what is the legislature really wanting from us, and what do we want out of this? So with that, I'm going to ask Commissioner Allenbrand to go ahead and make her motion and put it on the table. And
I appreciate that, Commissioner Hanslick, and, just the comments you made, this isn't a Panasonic, it's not an Alaskan fir. These operators give back to the community, so I know that the city of DeSoto is working on, this is ongoing, and I will be after here sending a letter. And County Manager, yeah, I'm upset with you, and I'm upset with them, with the city manager, because, I didn't hear about it until a week ago, and I just feel like the whole process on both sides, I'm upset with the city manager, and I'm upset with you as well. I just wish there would have been, maybe you pick up the phone and call them and try to go through this. I appreciate Peg Trent, I appreciate Adam, getting a week before, getting on the phone. I am upset that, we had to involve the developer in the conversations. It should have been, the owner should have been really the city and the developer themselves involved in that call. But I hope that in the future, I worked for 5 years trying to create a relationship with the city of DeSoto, and I'm very frustrated with them right now as well, because it shouldn't be here. These people need to have this help, and if it was any other company that was coming forth, I'd probably be saying some of the same things. But with that, Commissioner Hanslick, I'll make this motion. Therefore, I move to decline the exercise the board's disapproval authority under KSA 12-1771D as the City of DeSoto's proposal for TIF Development District, and direct staff to continue negotiate a cost recovery agreement with the city and with the City of DeSoto.
just an amendment, it's with the city and Midwest Health.
Well, I left Midwest Health off. I think it should be the City of DeSoto is my personal opinion, but they need to negotiate. Can I do that, Ms. Trent? It's their city and their TIF.
Vice Chair and Commissioner Allenbrand, I would respectfully request to give the staff that flexibility with both of them and the builder if you want to put in there but
Okay,
it's
so
between
then
the city
I
and
will
Midwest.
put agreement with the city. I can't think of the name of his company. Dustin Moore, the developer, and Midwest Health. Alcove. Thank you. I
Is there a
stand corrected.
second? Hearing no second, we will go ahead and continue with discussion, and please keep your comments concise so that we can get through this item in a timely way. So with that, I will go to Commissioner Ashcraft, because you haven't had a second chance.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I've appreciated the conversation, and I don't have any concerns or reflection about the company. I believe it's a company in good standing. It is a for-profit concern, and that for-profit concern has to make business decisions based upon the resources and specifics of a certain location and business transaction. My challenge is, though, that there is a real tangible impact on the county. I commend staff for identifying this. I know staff, I had conversations with Ms. Trent, Mr. Norris, and the county manager regarding this. They were all well-informed, very forthright about their observations and their attempts at negotiation. It's a reflection, though, on the process. Commissioner Hanslick, Vice Chair Hanslick, is correct. The way the statute is written, the county oftentimes is the brunt of this process incongruency sometimes, and I think staff tried to work through it well. There was not a partnership spirit communicated with the county, I do not believe. If it had been, I think the impact on the county could have been mitigated or even eliminated. And this is indicative of the challenge we have with all TIFs, not just Alaskan Fur Company, but when there are luxury apartments being requested or Starbucks being requested for tax breaks. Those are business decisions, and I would be happy to make a motion in support of this action at the appropriate time, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Why don't we go ahead and get a couple more comments? I see the staff has a hand up. Is that County Manager?
Yes, I just wanted to address Commissioner Allenbrand. I would like to talk to you more. I heard that you're upset with me. As soon as I became aware of an issue, I got involved, and I did reach out to the city manager directly. I did not talk to you. I was aware that staff was, so I would like to address that. I do think that a policy is what's going to help everybody's understanding of how to proceed. So thank you.
Vice Chair, can I make a comment?
Well, we have some other.
Okay, I
other
just wanted to
folks.
respond back to the city manager, so, I mean, the county manager, but.
Okay, well,
It's okay, I won't.
I think she's offered to talk with you offline.
I just didn't get the same, I got conflicting information.
Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm having a problem with determining adverse effect also. That's the main thing here for me. I also have some of the same concerns of timing, but also with numbers not being able to match up. When I looked at this briefing sheet and I see that we're gonna have an adverse effect of $652,000 to $941,000, to me, that's adverse. And I would not be acceptable of that. Now, I've heard the explanation today that that's not actually the number of the adverse effect we're gonna have. It sounds like it's gonna be much lower. We didn't get a number of what that much lower is, and I know that's hard to calculate, but there's still an adverse effect on our county services. And whenever I look at the TIFs, I try to determine how is it going to affect county services whenever this is brought before us. And I felt like, and I may be wrong, but I thought there was some discussion with the city of DeSoto of them understanding that there was concern about this adverse effect, and that I was hoping to come here today and have someone say that, again, as Mr. Ashcraft said, it was either limited or eliminated as an issue as far as county services are concerned, because I think the TIF can still go forward with the negotiation of keeping county services whole instead of having this adverse effect. Now, I may be wrong with that from a legal standpoint, I don't know, but and I don't know, because I haven't had specific conversations with City of DeSoto on this, but I would think they would have had an understanding, and maybe they were just banking, well, the county's just gonna rubber stamp this TIF because they okay every TIF. And my concern is that we open a can of worms when we allow this type of TIF to take place when it's having adverse effect on county services. And I don't want to see people come back and try to take advantage of that. I don't know that there's a whole lot of situations where that could happen, but it could happen. And that's what I've always tried to look at from a standpoint of me agreeing to a TIF situation, is making sure that there wasn't going to be an adverse effect on our services. And I think that happens most of the time. I've been trying to remember all the different TIFs that have come before us, and I can't remember one where I've ever read in a briefing sheet, here's the kind of adverse effect it's going to have on the county. And so I'm not feeling more comfortable with this item because of today's discussion. I'm probably on the opposite end. I'm feeling less comfortable with this item as it is. I don't know how urgent it is to give a thumbs up versus a thumbs down, but I would surely hope that there would be more discussion that could take place, and maybe only that discussion can only take place if we vote a certain direction. So I don't know. That's where I'm uncomfortable. I don't have enough information to believe that there's not going to be adverse effect on the county with the discussion that's taken place today.
Well, I appreciate those comments, Commissioner Myers, because I think what I'm hearing, that's where we are. We don't have enough information in terms of guidance on how to interpret adverse effect. And it is a conundrum. But as I said, I don't want to penalize one project because of the lack of clarity from the law. At the same time, I think it does present an opportunity for us to move forward and demand some clarity, and to decide for ourselves what kind of adverse effect is acceptable or not acceptable. Is it a $100,000 impact? Is it $1 million impact? Is it $100 million impact? Those are very difficult questions with that. So I see Commissioner Fast has raised her hand.
Yeah, one of my questions, Adam, our briefing just says adverse effect on Medac. It doesn't talk about the adverse effect on the fire district. And so there's even more adverse effect. I mean, this afternoon, we have 2 fire districts coming to us to increase, residential property tax burden because of adverse effects. I mean, there was, when you asked any other properties, there is a large senior living in Northeast, 216 units that work to incorporate the Northeast Fire District. I don't know if it was TIF or IRB, and as you say, each incentive tool has different negotiating party, but they were able to work with, and Chief Chick has talked about this a lot, And so that has been done, but, with the West Fire District losing 50% of its taxable land and more TIF projects were coming in the Northeast, we're seeing the legislature going to put a tax lid on probably, next year. And so these fire districts, there's not, and then our MEDAC, but here lies, I totally agree with Commissioner Hanslick. The adverse impact is not defined. The TIF statute is not defined. I guess for me, is there a middle option here versus instead of decline? Do you have to decline? Could we say we would like you to have more negotiation? For me, there's there's the adverse impact, but there's a benefit that you're providing Medicaid. Medicaid facilities, it is hard to find a Medicaid assisted living. It is hard to find a Medicaid nursing facility. Our senior population is skyrocketing in Johnson County. So this project to me is going to meet a huge need. And I know in the Northeast and that senior living, that's not serving Medicaid, but they filled up. So, these senior, whether they're independent living or assisted or Medicaid, are filling up. So there is a community benefit from this project, I feel, from my experience. But I would like more negotiation and more information. So I don't know if there's a middle motion that we're not declining, we're delaying.
Mr. Norris?
Yeah, I'm glad to try to address this. So I do want to reiterate here, we have been in direct discussions with the city since we originally received this notification. Our office has been involved in talking about this and trying to reach an agreement, okay? So I want to make sure that's clear. To address your question, Commissioner Fast, I do believe the alternative motion in the briefing sheet may be what you're suggesting. I'm not, if I heard you correctly, that would, and I believe that was what Commissioner Allenbrand had made a
I'm asking, could we table, not decline?
No,
No.
that's not an option.
Okay, I didn't go to the second page here. Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to ask, I know there's more interest and more discussion, but I'm going to ask again if there is anyone who would like to make another motion. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I think I would like to use the alternative one as a motion of declining to adopt the resolution to direct staff to continue negotiating an interlocal or cost recovery agreement with the city and developer to offset the MEDAC project costs, allowing the project to proceed under the TIF district as proposed. And of course, that doesn't include fire districts, but MEDAC working with the fire districts. I think it helps. It may not eliminate, but it limits the adverse effect.
Commissioner Hanslick, can I make a little comment?
Yes?
Commissioner Myers, you might add MEDAC with that, but I did want to let Commissioner Fast know that Todd Maxwell and the president or chair of that fire board have been in discussions with the city of DeSoto. And I agree, so if you could add that in there, because they are talking, it's just, what we received was not good information. And so I hope from here on out, the city of DeSoto will be more, that we are provided more information. So, but if you could add that in, they are already doing that because they're looking at the possibility of the city maybe taking over that fire department. But anyway, if you could add MEDAC in there, but they are, I just wanted, fire department, but I wanted Commissioner Fast to know they are in negotiations with the city council.
I did say MEDAC, but I
didn't say, I meant add the fire, because they're already in negotiations, so we might as well add it, right?
Vice Chair, if I could intervene right now. First of all, just to give a little lesson on the law and all of this, we have to take action within this 30 days. There's no table, no delay. At this point, As to the fire district, we do not have authority to be involved in the development. That's separate and apart. So all we, and the motion as written, would provide staff the authority then, despite we not moving forward with the veto vote, what that means is then we follow up with DeSoto, go back to all of the parties, try to reach a settlement. So we're not done today. We will reach out subsequent, and we can report back to you after, negotiations, what's going on. But we're here for this matter on this project for this vote. So the motion as read by Commissioner Meyer would be in line with what most of your comments have been and how we can proceed to still continue talking with all of the parties.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, Commissioner Myers, you are making on the briefing sheet in the second paragraph, you are making the alternative motion? Because I'm not sure that's the wording I heard.
Yes, I said alternative one.
Okay.
I think, but you read it here, and she's asking on the other page.
They're different.
There's an alternative on the briefing sheet, which it reads different than the alternative
Yes,
two
that's where-
in the motion section.
Yes, if you could look on the first page of the briefing sheet where it says suggested motion.
Yes,
What I'm understanding is you want to make the alternative motion. There's a suggested motion which would disapprove the establishment of the TIF district, veto it, or the alternative motion, which would be declining to exercise the board's authority to veto it, but to direct staff to continue with negotiations. So I want to be clear on which motion you're,
I was talking about page 2.
right,
Alternative.
right. Yeah,
alternative
right,
one.
and that's not actually the motion, it's just describing what our alternatives are, but the actual legal wording
Okay.
is from
But
the,
I can use that wording as my motion, correct?
You can.
That's my wording.
And I second that,
It's so moved.
and I second that.
okay, so to decline to adopt the resolution and direct staff to continue negotiating an interlocal or cost recovery agreement with the city and developer to offset MedAc's projected costs, allowing the project to proceed under the TIF district as proposed. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, so Commissioner Myers made the motion,
Second.
and I think Commissioner Brewer had seconded it originally. Okay, so we've got a motion on the table, and we have a few more comments. Again, let's be as concise as possible. Commissioner Brewer.
Thank you. So, Ms. Salk, I was appreciative of the questions that you answered for me because I was trying to get an understanding of population, where they're coming from, and what their needs are. Why? Because this afternoon in our COW, we're looking at a budget out of the Northwest Consolidated Fire District, where of their $11.3 million in ad valorem taxes, 6.2 is TIFed. So I do feel that it's not same residents, same location, same type of service. I am concerned that there could be a clustering of folks in an area of the Northwest Consolidated Fire District that would increase utilization of a fire district that already sees so much of its ad valorem tax set aside in a TIF situation. So that is a concern I have around adverse effect. It sounds as though this deal already has an IRB, which is not before us, which has been approved. Did I hear that correctly?
I don't think it's been approved yet, but it's
It's a
contemplated.
suggestion, it's an
yeah,
IRB
yeah.
suggestion. And I guess I'm trying to understand if we were to not pass the alternative motion that's on the floor, but do pass the actual alternative motion suggesting, because in that one, we're saying, go ahead, we're approving the TIF, but we still want you to negotiate cost recovery. I just don't know how much teeth that would really have, because we would have taken action saying, we're gonna stay silent and let the TIF go forward, but boy, we want this negotiation to happen on the side. So I kind of feel like I've given up any negotiating leverage, if I took the suggested motion alternative as opposed to the motion that's currently under discussion? Can you help me understand the difference between the two a little bit better?
Yeah, so I think the alternative motion, I think it certainly sets an expectation from this board about what you all want at the end of the day here, right? While this may go forward with that motion, the expectation is that we would try to work out some kind of solution to address the impact that this may have on our services. And with a representative from the operator in the audience, and as well as, continuing to work with the city as we have been, that direction is helpful for us. I would say that this isn't the only project that comes, or TIF request that comes before the board from this city. And I think, there are other opportunities if the expectation is not met here, in the future to evaluate this, if I'm answering your question.
You are. I appreciate that, but the reality is, and granted, I'm only in my second year of serving, but every TIF except for one that has come before us in the last almost 2 years has been absent any type of impact information on county taxes as a part of their due diligence from a jurisdiction that is doing a public hearing and then giving us 30 days to determine adverse impact. I think the other thing that's important for anyone in the audience or anyone listening is the reality that it's the county and school districts are the only one who can take deliberative action around yes or no on a TIF. So when we speak, we're speaking on behalf of other taxing districts that fall under the county, such as our fire district, as our library, and our parks and rec. So I take that responsibility seriously. I do want to underscore, I think the proposal is good. I think the product is needed. I just have to weigh in the impact to, in this case, really, for me, the Consolidated Northwest Fire District.
Yeah, I think, to your point, Commissioner Brewer, I think no matter what the outcome is today, we are putting cities on notice that we are paying attention. And hopefully that will provide for more opportunities to have those negotiations way ahead of time and not be at this point as we are where we are kind of under the gun to make a decision. Okay.
Vice Chair, I had my hand up.
Okay, I also see Commissioner Ashcraft has his hand up. So I'm going to go ahead with Commissioner Ashcraft. I think he's been waiting longer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a point of personal privilege. I had made the offer to make a motion from the dais before you recognized.
Commissioner Myers?
Yes.
Sorry.
So having said that, I would like to offer that there is a time limit on this, and we have to recognize that. But if this item were to pass, meaning that it would be rejected, that does not preclude, I believe, the city and the developer from reinitiating another TIF, and it would provide us the leverage in further negotiations on this matter. And if I'm incorrect on that, Counselor, please set me straight.
Vice Chair Hanslick and Commissioner Ashcraft, to clarify, if you were to bring forward the veto resolution, which you're not doing, the motion, if I understood it, was not to veto. But if you were to bring a veto at this point, then, and that was to pass from the board, that would then, the City of DeSoto would have 30 days in order to rescind their ordinance. They could renegotiate and bring it back. But there's a lot of ifs in there, and as you heard from General Counsel for Midwest Health, is that financially, because of the infrastructure in this site, it would not result in any movement forward or coming back. So that's why, the motion as Commissioner Myers has made, that we would not take action in vetoing, but staff would, as Assistant Manager Norris has indicated, staff would continue to talk to the City of DeSoto and look to other options to how we can help with that situation.
But the veto gives a 30-day leverage window for the county in negotiations to address not just county, but fire district and any other unit that may be impacted.
School district and the county, school district and the county both have the right to veto. And it gives the fire district an opportunity to speak to City of DeSoto and others about their need. And just for clarification, City of DeSoto, when they had their discussion of this ordinance, they acknowledged the EMS and as well as the fire district issues. There was discussion in their minutes about a development agreement that may contain and address these issues. The problem is we have not had negotiation, or I don't want to get into that, but we with city, there's not been able to reach a consensus, let's say, as to the county.
But my point, my point is, if this is a viable business decision, then this provides us leverage to make sure the negotiations take place in good faith and in full consideration of what the county is concerned with, however you want to define adverse effect.
If I understood Commissioner Hanslick and others' comments, the relationship with City of DeSoto moving forward, they're aware of the concerns that the county is bringing forward. We have the direction to continue to negotiate, and they know that we will be there at the table to talk about this project and other projects. So from business necessity, I'm not sure I'm getting what you're...
It's the leverage issue, because personally, I would have some concerns about trying to hold DeSoto hostage for some future TIF because they did not act aggressively or
we would never do
positively
that.
on this. And each project should stand on its own, and this one
Absolutely.
does not.
Right. Not right to stand on its own. I meant correct in the sense the veto is there for a reason, and the issue is with the legislation being unclear.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Allenbrand.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And I apologize. I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing. So Commissioner Myers' motion, if that goes forward with the second, does allow the staff to continue negotiations with the city to further work this out. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Brewer.
And I want to also understand the motion that is on the table also allows the TIF to go forward, because I want to understand the difference between what we read into the motion as the alternative and what was suggested as the alternative motion up in the suggested motion. Are they materially the same, or is there a material difference?
Chief Counsel.
To Chief Counsel.
Commissioner, Vice Chair Hanslick and Commissioner Brewer. I apologize for the briefing sheet. It was turned around very quickly, so there was probably some inconsistency and not of the same standards. But just so you know, this motion that was read by, and I was just trying to move this along on the motion, does not move forward with the veto. If you were to do nothing today and we were to walk away on August 15th, your veto expires. That's the way we ordinarily with other TIFs, we do nothing. We're just having a discussion today about this one because of items that were brought to your attention. So with that said, today your motion does two things that was read by Commissioner Meyer. One, we do nothing, meaning it will expire the 30 days. And two, you've directed staff to continue talking with the City of DeSoto and Midwest Health and any other party to try and resolve something.
And Chief Counsel, I don't know if I understood your answer to Commissioner Ashcraft's question. If we were to veto, if we were to vote down the motion on the table, does it in effect set another 30-day clock for the city, the county, and the contractor to talk further and come back with maybe an alternative TIF proposal?
No, it
does
is
not.
ended today. Once you veto, that's it. It goes back to the county. The county shall adopt an ordinance rescinding the actual district. And at that point, they could start over fresh.
Correct.
But
You mean the city?
the city, but you are done. This is final. That's why the expiration of the 30 days, what happens.
Thank you.
At this time, seeing no additional comments, I am going to ask the clerk to call the roll on the motion before us, which is to decline the opportunity to veto this TIF and to direct the staff to continue negotiations.
This is Commissioner Myers.
Yes, this is Commissioner Myers.
Commissioner Fast. Aye. Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, no.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
No.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Allenbrand, aye.
Vice Chair Hanslick.
No. I have,
3 in favor.
I'm sorry,
3 in favor, 3 opposed.
3 in favor and 3 opposed.
No. There was 4-2.
No.
3-3.
Who was the third one?
Clerk, could you clarify the vote, please?
Commissioner Fast, Commissioner Myers, and Commissioner Allenbrand were yes. Commissioner Brewer, Vice Chair Hanslick, and Commissioner Ashcraft were no.
So we have a tie, and that means it does
I
not,
would be willing to change my vote.
you're going to change your vote from yes to
To
no?
no.
To no? All right, then we have 4 noes and 2 yes. That means the motion fails.
Madam Chair, may I make a alternate motion, the original motion?
Legal counsel, is that acceptable, that this Commissioner Ashcraft make another motion?
I need to hear his motion. Commissioner, I'm sorry, I don't.
He's asking to make another motion, an alternative motion.
Yes.
Would you like me to make the motion, or would you like me to state the motion I will make?
Sorry, make the motion.
Okay. I move to adopt resolution number 115-26, finding that the City of DeSoto's proposed TIF redevelopment district will have an adverse effect on Johnson County and disapproving its establishment pursuant to KSA 12-1771, parenthetical D.
Is there a second? Well, no second. I'm sorry, Chief Legal Counsel?
So that fails for a second, and then we're done with the item.
Okay. Well, thank you all for that discussion. Thank you, Ms. Sork, for being here. Thank you, Mr. Norris. And we're going to go ahead and take about a 10-minute break.
Commissioner?
Oh, yes,
I
I'm
can have a
going to turn
moment
it
of
back.
privilege, please.
I'm going to turn this back. I've got to turn the meeting back over to the chair.
Thank you very much. And understanding that I had to recuse myself from this matter, I believe there was plenty of policy discussion outside of this particular item that I think I'd like the opportunity to address without this particular item. I feel that this was unfortunately handled poorly on all sides. I think the statute being unclear is a reality that we all understand. But I think the lack of communication of this conversation and of our responsibility and what the expectation can be for cities leaves us in a bad place from a timing perspective here to have this be rushed at the last minute and to therefore not be able to have a full consideration of the item of what is the actual effect of a community impact of a new business that may arise. I feel like there is a necessity to have a conversation regarding what is local control and economic benefits of new development within our community, as well as the operational integrity of Johnson County, particularly in this, or in all instances, MedAct, or our community of aging, or on our sheriff's department. There are valid criticisms, I think, on all sides here. One of the things that I recognize is we changed the way we operate our meetings to allow more time for policy discussion. And while much of that has been spent on the budget thus far, we have windows, in particular windows, that we have identified for policy discussion the rest of this year. What I'd like to do is move that the board direct staff to work with us and develop a policy on incentive guidance, both those under KSA 12-1771D, as well as for consideration of incentive requests for projects in the unincorporated, and that it be considered at a committee of the whole before the end of this calendar year.
Allenbrand, second.
So that's my motion, been seconded by Commissioner Allenbrand, and invite a brief amount of discussion, but I think everybody recognizes that that would be a healthy and necessary conversation to discuss what we define as adverse effect, considering a holistic effect of economic development, not just one measure of dollar and cent on one county department, but a holistic picture that I don't think is defined in this briefing sheet and wasn't clearly articulated for this project, or for past projects for that matter. Commissioner Brewer.
One, I concur. Two, my only concern is at the end of the day, we can have all the conversations we want, but until a project that bubbles up through a city holds public hearing, and the type and caliber of the information that we receive from those jurisdictions, until that improves and is more germane to guiding us on if this is going to be an adverse effect or not and what the dollars and cents are, that it just stays as a conversation, because unless we have that cooperation between the jurisdictions, will we get to the end result we're looking for, at least I'm looking for, and that is, if you're going to have a proposal, do the math on the current land value and the impact for taxes, and do the math on the change, and give me more of that data, so I feel like I'm making a well-researched, because we have two ways we can go. Either the city is the captain of the ship and provides all the data that's necessary for us to make a more informed decision, or we become the captain of the ship and we do our own calculations, and then they have to live with that impact information and the decision we make based on that impact information.
I totally understand your comment. I don't want to put us in an adversarial point, and no offense to your comment, but making one the captain as opposed to the other. It's an opportunity for partnership in multiple layers of government, which I think is what the statute originally intended, without any guidance from the state legislature. Shocker, first time that's ever happened. In the same way that we don't like the state putting the thumb on us, I'm sure the cities don't like us putting the thumb on them, but finding opportunities for partnership, and we can be the leader on that and be clear about and provide guidance. Similar to the golden factor, when we're talking about redevelopment or rezoning of a particular project in a community, we can provide guidance on what we would like to see. And if we can be clear and articulate that in a way that cities can put that information forward, and if they can't articulate why they can't put that information forward, then we can be in a better position to provide clarity to the cities. Right now, we are kind of picking and grasping at straws, but I think providing that clarity on what we believe we need to evaluate that adverse effect is a benefit to the cities, as well as benefits us in looking after our departments and our taxpayers. Commissioner Fast.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chairman, but this is a struggle we've had for 8 years, and we had a number of conversations under Chairman Eilert. We developed, I brought forward then the adverse impact on transit and affordable housing, and how could we communicate to our cities to incorporate transit, and really nothing's changed. The other thing is, most cities don't have all those costs at the stage they come to us, and I don't see that changing. I mean, we have TIFs now 35 years. You know, people just change the boundaries and then they go for another 10, 15 years and they don't have to come back to us. I mean, to me, this requires, and I totally agree, the conversation, the guidance, but we also need more clarity in statute. So that the statute, because we have no say when they change the boundaries and can add on another 20 years. So it's a 40-year TIF. So I really think that we need to have, some legislative work on this too, because I don't see much changing, because we've been, and I hope and you're very involved, understand city levels, so maybe it's more conversations, but I think it's also that there's some more legal framework here too.
And Commissioner Fast, I think that's a fantastic point, and I invite you to bring that conversation back up when we're talking about our state legislative platform in the coming months. Commissioner Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, would you mind restating your motion again?
Yep. Forgive me, it might not be exactly verbatim, but I'd move that the board direct staff to work with us to develop a policy on incentive guidance, both for those under 12-1771D or KSA 12-1771D, as well as for consideration of incentive requests for projects within the unincorporated, and that it be considered at a committee of the whole before the end of the calendar year.
So clarification, is that exclusively TIFs?
No, incentive guidance.
Okay. And based then on later comments you made, would that include our efforts to partner with cities and other jurisdictions in the development and use of incentives?
It would, and particularly for incentive guidance. So I'd welcome a holistic conversation regarding economic development so we can be able to provide that clarity of our comfort level and our expectations for city partners in bringing new projects to the community.
Well, the term partner is key there, so I just wanted to make sure I was on the same wavelength with you. Yes, and as Commissioner Fast has pointed out, this has been an issue which should have been started long ago, so I appreciate your attempt here and will be supportive of it.
Okay. Commissioner Allenbrand?
Thank you, Chair, and I appreciate your motion. And I'm going to talk about how old I am. When development was going on over in the Northeast, my parents would complain about how we paid for roads and facilities over in that area. And now I'm sitting here, of course, I look in the mirror and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm my mother. And now here I'm on the other side, in my district with needing help. I hope that we come to the point of discussion on this because that's something that's needed. I've been here 5 years and we've never had any perimeters. What I don't want to do is we are not city council members and that's their job. And, I don't want to get into their business as well, but I think it's important for them to hear what we have to say. What makes me sad is losing this Medicaid facility in my district over all the other TIFs and not coming to this conclusion. So, of course, I second it and I'm in support.
Thank you. And I just want to, Mr. Norris looks like he wants to make a comment real quick.
Just after this motion is, if I could, please. When this is complete, I'd like to say something.
Okay. All right. So at this point, and just to clarify, Commissioner Allenbrand, no action was taken on the last item. So we're not taking any action as opposed to this.
Thank you, because I was like, oh my God, am I going to have the phone calls coming? Thank you. Okay.
So moving on past that item, this is a motion that I have made as a matter of personal privilege, and it's been seconded. There's no further discussion. I'd like the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick, aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Allenbrand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye, that's 7 in favor, none against. Is that consistent with your count?
It is.
Very good. At this time, we'll recognize Mr. Norris.
All right, thanks. I'll be real quick. So someone earlier this week told me to focus on the problem, and I appreciated that comment earlier this week from that person. I do want to say, economic development, this project and the way this unfolded is unfortunate in a lot of different ways. And Chair, you're absolutely right that there's improvement on all sides, right? But I do want to make this clear. The economic development responsibility right now, as it's assigned, it's tasked but to me. So if there's a breakdown here, if there's a criticism in how this unfolded, this should lie with me, okay? I apologize on how this unfolded. I do think that we made earnest efforts early on in communication with our city partners to work this out. So I want to own this issue and just know that we'll get better. And I appreciate the opportunity to have a good policy conversation about this. So, thank you.
Ms. Norris, I appreciate you falling on the sword here. I don't know that it's necessary. We need to provide you guidance and policy for that to be implemented.
Yeah.
So as critical as we may have been of staff here, the criticism's on all ends, including our own. But we're going to fix that, and I invite everybody else to come to the table so that we can have a better process moving forward. We're going to take a break at this time. We'll come back in 10 minutes. Thank you very much. We're in recess. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the record. It's 11:15, and we are going to go to our regularly scheduled action agenda, starting with item number 4. This is authorizing the Green Infrastructure Grant Programs Awards to various organizations. Leslie Rigney is here from Public Works to discuss the item. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. It's still morning. My name is Leslie Rigney, and I'm with the Stormwater Management Program in Public Works. And this item asks the board to authorize the first round of awards through Johnson County's new Green Infrastructure Grant Program. And we think this is a very exciting step for our stormwater management program. It's a step that aligns with our strategic plan, and it expands who we partner with to improve watershed health. In addition to our longstanding work with city stormwater and public works divisions, this program opens the door to work with parks departments, school districts, nonprofit organizations, and private property owners. We're already seeing strong interest from both existing and potential partners who have great projects and valuable land where meaningful restoration can occur. So the 7 projects before you today put that new partnership model into action, working with Johnson County Park and Recreation District, Ducks Unlimited, and Bridging the Gap. The awards will restore wetlands, woodlands, prairie, and riparian areas across several county watersheds. In practical terms, these projects apply the same principle often described as a sponge city, restoring the landscape's ability to absorb, hold, and slowly release rainfall rather than sending it rapidly downstream. Together, they'll improve infiltration and water quality, reduce flood risk, restore habitat, and create new opportunities for recreation, education, and community stewardship. The Mill Creek Wetland Project alone is expected to provide around 2.5 million gallons of stormwater storage. The total cost of these projects is nearly $1.6 million. The requested county contribution is $1.19 million, with the balance just over $401,000 coming from partner resources. These funds are already programmed and available within the board-approved 2026 stormwater management budget, and they were recommended unanimously by the watershed organizations, and the program itself was approved by the Stormwater Management Advisory Council. Staff recommend authorization of the 7 grant agreements in the total amount not to exceed $1,193,598, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
First of all, thank you very much. I really appreciate this program, particularly for the opportunity to invest in green infrastructure. I think stormwater management has its benefits, but I think when you add green infrastructure to the mix, you get a number of co-benefits that also help with either riparian restoration or with the economic and the health benefits of utilizing natural infrastructure solutions. So I'm very supportive of this one. Thank you for bringing it forward. We'll go to Commissioner Brewer first.
I just want to echo my support for the program. Chair, I'm offering to make the motion when appropriate. I just want to say I'm thrilled about the 2 projects in my district along the Blue River, the restoration and the wetland. Having been to those areas, I'm super excited about those projects. So I'll offer to make the motion when appropriate.
Come back to you for that. Commissioner Fast.
Yeah, this is, I think, really critical. We're seeing more severe rain events, more heavier downpours, flash floods. I think one thing people don't realize how important JCPRD is to flood control. We don't talk about that. I think that needs to be talked about more. I guess the one thing though, you know, some of my cities like Mission Hills flooding is just huge. Is there no partnerships with cities, or is this not, I mean, do the cities know about it? I know when I give city presentations, I hear a lot like they don't know about some of our programs. So did you reach out to the city managers about this? It's hard for me to believe not one city.
So it's a great question, but our partnership, the Stormwater Management Advisory Council, is made up of cities. So, and then groups of those cities that exist within the watersheds, the 6 watersheds on the map that we provided, they are the watershed orgs, the organizations. So yeah, cities are very intimately involved in this project. cities already have access to these funds, so they don't have to necessarily go through the same grant project. They can request funding on a rolling basis for these types of projects. And these specifically were targeting nature-based solutions that were kind of non-structural, less engineered, which, as you might imagine, are much easier to accomplish in the less developed areas of the county. But specifically, I think if you look at number five, JCPRD biodiversity planting on Indian and Tomahawk Creek, I think you're going to see that that's going to be a very potentially beneficial downstream as well. So it's going to be a benefit to those fully developed areas, even though it's not taking place right directly in there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Rigney, first, thank you for meeting with me, you and your staff. I appreciated the conversation. Just to help my understanding, this is a new program with an expanded approach to deal with the issue. So is this amount an amount that we will see periodically, annually, or going forward? Do you see this being continuing to be expanded and worked upon?
Yes, we hope so. You know, the $1.5 million that we have allocated every year for this type of work, we expect to continue with that, into the future. And as kind of more cities and potential partners become aware of this, as we kind of promote it in a different way than we have before, I think we will, yes, continue to do this every year. That's our hope. That's our plan. Yes.
Most of this looks like it's focused on what I would call green infrastructure, with the foundation being the management, if I can frame it that way, the management of water, stormwater in particular, to mitigate flooding and the impact flooding has on both residential, commercial, and open property. Is that the intent?
Sure. So of course, stormwater is our focus. But like Chairman Kelly mentioned, there are so many additional benefits that co-occur with these types of projects.
Very good. So help me understand what I was looking for, and I was having a hard time getting my head around, was that, and I'll just take an arbitrary timeline. 5 years from now, we will have spent $5, maybe $7 or $8 million on these efforts. So what benefit will we see in terms of flood reduction, flood loss, damage? Is there any way to measure that so as we go forward, we know we're having, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, but how do we monetize some of these expenditures?
So monetization, so kind of what's driving us right now is the really mountainous volume of research that tells us that for every dollar invested in green infrastructure or nature-based solutions, communities are seeing very large, consistent returns on investment, anywhere from maybe $2 to $7 to sometimes in wetlands near streams, which we actually have in this slate of projects, much even higher returns on investment. And they come in the form of avoided losses associated with flooding, such as property damage, road overtopping, bank failures, and they come from increased property values. They come from an overall increase in watershed health, including the actual physical and mental health of residents. We're currently developing tools to estimate actual volumetric reductions, and to also estimate over the next few years, we'll have tools in place that we can actually estimate and model avoided losses related to flood.
So this will be part of your KPIs going forward that will be reported to the commission and publicly?
Yes, and in fact, the KPI that's kind of connecting a lot of this new programming and stuff that we still intend to roll out in the future is tracking volume reduction as a KPI. So that ties to so many different things. Volume reduction Reducing it obviously slows floodwaters, it removes pollutants, allows pollutants to drop out, it cools the water, all these things, infiltrates. So we need to really, allows for infiltration, so we really need to focus as a KPI on volume reduction, and that's what we are going to kind of start tracking with all of our projects moving forward.
Thank you.
So we'll go to Commissioner Brewer for her motion, please.
Thank you. I move to authorize the Green Infrastructure Grant Program awards to the following recipients: Bridging the Gap, Ducks Unlimited, and Johnson County Park and Recreation District in a total award amount not to exceed $1,193,598.
Allen Brand, second.
Moved by Commissioner Brewer and seconded by Commissioner Allen Brand. Seeing no further requests for comments at this time, I'd ask the clerk to call the roll. Thank you.
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick, aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen Brand.
Allen Brand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye, that's 7 in favor, none against. Is that consistent with your count?
It is.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For the presentation. Thank you to the team who attended with you. We appreciate it, and we'll move on at this time to what's been marked as item number 5. This is RFP 2026-002. These are term and supply contracts with various engineering firms for work with Johnson County wastewater. Appreciating the work of various firms when they are needed, we invite back Susan Picaric to present the item.
Thank you, Chair.
There we go, sorry. I like this podium, it's my height, so thank you. Thank you, whoever did that. All right, excuse me. So Johnson County Wastewater, we utilize term and supply contracts for engineering consulting services to do studies, design, and perform construction phase services for our treatment facilities and our pumping stations within our JCW system. This allows the consultants to become familiar with our facilities. They become familiar with our procurement policies and procedures, as well as our integrated plan and program. This helps provide consistency in terms of our project delivery. The selected firms will help us implement the projects that we have identified within our integrated plan and those projects that we've identified as part of our 5-year capital improvement plan. The request for a proposal was opened by FMA Purchasing on April 16th. We had 11 firms respond with written proposals, and after reviewing those proposals, 8 firms were selected for interview. A team that comprised of Johnson County wastewater members as well as a member from the Public Works Department evaluated the firms, and they do recommend awarding contracts to 7 firms. Attachment A, which is shown here on the screen and included in your packet, shows the results of the evaluation. And as a reminder, our purchasing policies and procedures, we make final determination based on the final rankings. Firms were evaluated based on their project approach, their key staff, their experience, as well as their staff utilization. They also provide cost proposals using a sample project that was provided with the RFP. The sample project was typical of work that we expect to have them provide under this next contract. The fees that were submitted by the finalists were based on the hours that we provided, and then they include their rates that will be incorporated into their contracts. Funds for this contract are through the Consolidated Maine Sewer District operating budget that is approved annually by the Board of County Commissioners, as well as through our Capital Improvement Fund, which we have authorized separately by the board. Staff does recommend authorizing term and supply contracts with the 7 firms. They include Black & Veatch Corporation, Burns & McDonnell, Carollo, CDM Smith, Garver, George Butler Associates, or GBA, and HDR. And we recommend that for 1 year with up to 4 one-year renewal periods in a cumulative amount not to exceed $10 million. What that essentially means is $10 million total for all the work that we would write for any of the firms. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pekarik. Commissioner Hanslick, did you have a question?
I was going to offer to make a motion, when the time's ready.
We'll come to you for that motion. Commissioner Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, 2 items, if I might. Ms. Pekarik, I heard some most distressing news about you, and I wanted to ask if it was true publicly.
Well, it depends. What did you hear?
Are you indeed planning on going to work on a farm out west next month?
I am planning on going to work on a farm, but it'll be in the north, not out west, but
Out
yes.
west. It'll be in the north.
Yep, yep, that's what I'm
So
planning
your
to do.
retirement is set in stone?
It is, yeah.
Well, I'm sure we will have opportunity later on to extol your virtues and your service, but I wanted to take just a moment and thank you publicly.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Good. And having offered that, a few questions.
Okay.
Looking at this, looking at this item, I looked at the evaluation summary, and I understand the rationale for not including firm H, even though they were the quote-unquote low proposer, or their evaluation marks were decidedly less substantial. But the broader question of the, is it 7 firms that have been offered or are included in this briefing sheet? How does the commission know that we will obtain the best value when a project is brought forward and these firms are then considered for selection? How do we encourage those firms to be offered the most competitive price available?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. Thank you, sir. So that's a lot of why we do the request for proposal, and then they include their rates, which then gets incorporated into their contracts. In terms of best value, as we discussed, we have a professional staff, and they are working with, negotiating with the firms for various projects that we'll need them to do. There are some projects, larger projects, or something that might have a unique technical requirement, so we'll do kind of a mini RFP and have them go ahead and propose inside of this contract so that we can ensure that we're selecting the best firm. But really what it all rolls up to is the level of service we provide for the price that we provided. Our rates continue to be among the lowest, second lowest in the region of our peer utilities. And I think year after year, that is the way that we demonstrate to our customers that we're providing them the best value through this contract.
One clarification then. The $10 million, is that $10 million a year for each year, or $10 million total for the 5-year period?
It's $10 million a year.
Okay. And what's the average size, excuse me, the average size?
Average size of the authorization.
Yeah. The number of projects.
The number of projects, yeah. So we anticipate doing about 20 projects a year.
Okay. Thank you.
Spreading that around, yeah.
All right, we'll go to Commissioner Hanslick at this time for the motion.
Thank you. I move to authorize term and supply contracts with Black & Veatch Corporation, Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company, Inc., Corallo Engineers, Inc., CDM Smith, Garver LLC, George Butler Associates, Inc., and HDR Engineering, Inc. for engineering services for wastewater treatment and pumping asset renewal at a cumulative not-to-exceed cost of $10 million for a period of 1 year, with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year periods per request for proposal 2026-002.
Allenbrand, second.
Moved by Commissioner Hanslick, seconded by Commissioner Allenbrand. Seeing no questions, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick, aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Allenbrand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye, that's 7 in favor and none against. Is that consistent with your count?
It is.
Thank you very much. Ms. McCarrick, please stay right there because we'll move on at this time to what is item number 6 on your agenda. This is RFP 2026-11. It's a term and supply contract with Midwest Injection, Inc. for Lagoon Biosolids cleanout services. Ms. McCarrick, would you mind giving us a little flavor for this?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So again, this request is for contract authorization only. Funding for this contract is from our Consolidated Main Sewer District operating budget and from the Wastewater Capital Fund, and was included in the 26 budget and is part of the 27 budget process that the board authorizes annually, excuse me. So wastewater has an annual maintenance program to remove biosolids from our treatment lagoons. Though most of the lagoons are primarily located at our Mill Creek Regional Facility, and that is what is shown up on the screen right now. Biosolids are stabilized wastewater treatment solids. Wastewater uses a contractor to manage the removal, the transport, and land application onto agricultural land for beneficial use. The work also includes sampling analysis, documentation, and regulatory reporting, which is required to be done annually. The Mill Creek Regional Facility has 5 aerated lagoons. Those are lagoons cells 3 through 8 that you see there. Every year, we're cleaning out 2 or 3 of those on a rotational basis. The best time to clean the lagoons out and land apply is in the fall or early winter each year after the crops have been harvested. This maintenance activity is important as an important part of maintaining our permit compliance. We don't want solids washing out of those lagoons. Biosolids are land applied in accordance with all local, state, and federal regulations. This is a regulated activity under 40 CFR 503. RFP 2026-001 was opened on May 12th by FMA Purchasing. We received 5 responsive proposals. We interviewed 4 firms from those proposals. The evaluation team that included a committee made up of members from wastewater, as well as a member from the Johnson County Department of Health and Environment, evaluated the firms, again, based on their approach to the project, their key staff members, firm experience, staff utilization, and they submitted cost proposals. Again, determination is made by final ranking. The table with the results are included in your briefing sheet. Midwest Injection is the recommended firm. They have demonstrated a clear understanding of the scope of services. They have successfully provided similar services to other similar agencies. They utilize modern equipment with real-time tracking capabilities, which provides an added benefit when it comes to documentation. And they employ a full-time agronomist and environmental compliance specialist. A sample project was included in the RFP, and the proposal costs range from, I'll just say, just over 1.3 million to just over 1.6 million. Those are fairly long numbers there, so those are included in the briefing sheet as well. Staff recommends the award to Midwest Injection, in the amount not to exceed 2.5 million for 1 year with up to 4 additional 1-year terms. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. McCarrick, we'll go to Coach Myers.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. McCarrick. Could you tell me what our supply contract for Lagoon Biosolids cleanout services last time was?
The amount?
Yes.
It was 2.5 million.
It was 2.5?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking 2 million for some reason, but.
I am fairly confident that it's still, we're not changing it this time. We included an escalator there. It was, yeah, it was in that range. Let me just double check here. It was still 2.5 million, yeah, so.
Thank you.
And I can explain. The way we come to that, sir, is we're looking at the initial year, we're estimating the amount of solids, and that's going to vary based on different things, including wet weather. We've had a lot of wet weather this year. But there's also still quite a bit of growth in this watershed, and so we're also estimating that that watershed will continue growing, which means we'll continue to get more solids. The contractor's also allowed within the contract to do a 5% escalator. And so when you factor all those things together, that $2.5 million is really accounting for what we anticipate over that 5-year period. So.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Myers almost asked the question I wanted to, and Ms. McCarrick almost answered it. The question, and I'll offer my interpretation, Ms. McCarrick, so you correct me if I'm wrong. The range of proposal fees was 1.3 to 1.7 million. You're asking for not to exceed approval up to 2.5 million. The delta there is due in large measure or maybe totally based upon the volume of organic matter, if that's the right terminology, that is collected per year. So the 1.3 is a sample processing, collection, and distribution run. 2.5 might include 2, 3, or more.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I
thank
just want to
you. Yes.
understand. Very good. Thank you.
All right, I'm not seeing further requests for questions or comments at this time. Is there a motion? Commissioner Hanslick.
I move to authorize a term and supply contract with Midwest Injection, Inc. for Lagoon Biosolids cleanout services at an annual cost not to exceed $2.5 million for a period of 1 year, with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year periods per request for proposal 2026-011.
Brewer, second.
So moved by Commissioner Hanslick and seconded by Commissioner Brewer. Not seeing further questions on this one. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick, aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Allenbrand.
Allenbrand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. 7 in favor, none against. Is that consistent with your count?
It is.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McCarrick. At this time, we'll move to item number 7 on your agenda. This is the Olathe Adult Detention Center MEP Improvement Project. It's IFB 2026-022 BCI Mechanical LLC. Tony Barron here to consider the item. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Tony Barron, Director of Facilities Management. Yeah, for this project, we combined 2 identified projects in the fiscal year 2026 capital replacement program and the fiscal year 2026 energy efficiency measures program. The current systems identified are at the end of their life. Replacing these systems will improve the system reliability as well as enhance energy efficiencies in this building. The replacement of the 5 air handling units meets the energy efficiency measures program requirements of generating a simple payback within 10 years. The project is expected to reduce energy use intensity in this building by 13 kBTUs, as well as provide an estimated annual cost avoidance of $78,000. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was held with 15 contractors attending. A total of 3 responsive bidders responded. The lowest responsive and responsible bid was submitted by BCI Mechanical in the amount of $712,536. Branch Pattern, which was our consultant and engineer on the project, assisting us with the design of the project, identified a probable cost of $1.474,320,000. We have gone back and wanted to realize the delta in the OPC versus the bid. The majority of these savings come from a change in the mechanical system on the air handling units. The new recommended system still meets the project specifications, and with labor in a detention center, the labor costs are always unpredictable. BCI has done work in our detention centers before, so they're familiar with the process. Therefore, their labor costs were much lower than the OPC. I will stand for questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barron. We'll go to Commissioner Allenbrand.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Barron, great job on the briefing sheet. And Chair, when you're ready, I do have a motion.
We'll come back to you for that motion. Commissioner Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Barron, what's the difference between cost avoidance and cost savings?
Cost avoidance, cost savings would be money. That's a great question. I'm going to do my best to explain that. When I use the word cost avoidance, let me explain that. We are avoiding future costs that have been budgeted. So with the energy savings, we're going to avoid we're projected to avoid $78,000 worth of money that may have been spent without this project.
Okay, thank you. Second question. This is 2 projects. Do you have an inventory of projects that show an ROI equal to or even maybe better than this? Or is this the best ROI opportunity? Although you did mention end-of-life considerations, and that's a valid point. So, but is there an inventory list, and how substantial is it?
Would you be talking countywide or particular for this building?
No, well, countywide, and anything that these funds could otherwise be used for.
Yes, we do have a log of energy efficiency projects that we look into, we study. If they meet the requirements, they are put into this program. And not only that, we do have a log. I'd have to put it together. It's in the records. I don't have a compiled list, but we do have a records of projects that would show the return on investment per year terms. We use simple payback on past projects.
Well, Mr. Chairman, this might be one of those instances, maybe from different perspectives, but the valid consideration is I would hope that staff is aggressive at looking at those projects that have more immediate, and I'm not objecting to this, these are fine, but more immediate opportunities for a positive rate of return, especially anything that's 5 years or less, and maybe that's pie in the sky, but I would encourage staff to put that list forward for opportunities of action or even supplemental action. Just my 2 cents, Mr. Chair.
Appreciate it very much. Further questions or comments on this one? If not, we'll go to Commissioner Allen Brand for the motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to authorize a contract with BCI Mechanical LLC, doing business as BCI Solutions Group, for the Johnson County Olathe Adult Detention Center MEP Improvements Project located at 101 North Kansas Avenue, Olathe, Kansas 66061, in the amount of $712,536 per IFB number 2026-022.
Hanslick, second.
Moved by Commissioner Allen Brand, seconded by Commissioner Hanslick. Not seeing further questions on this one, so I'd ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Myers.
Myers, aye.
Commissioner Brewer.
Brewer, aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Hanslick, aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen Brand.
Allen Brand, aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye, that's 7 in favor, none against. Is that consistent with your count?
It is.
Very good. Thanks, Mr. Barron. We'll go to County Manager Penny Post Oak Ferguson for a manager's report.
Chairman and Commissioners, good morning for the next 10 minutes. Few things to highlight with the manager's memo. First, the Sparks program. I think Grace Hanna will be joining us. I don't see her this morning, but I thought she would be here, so hopefully she'll walk in a few minutes. But I mentioned this last week that NACO, they did win an achievement award from NACO, and this really highlights innovation ambassadors, where Sparks teams are led by our innovations team, but then we pull representatives from various departments to look at how do we make improvements in our processes to ultimately serve our residents better. So it's cross-departmental teams, it's innovation, it's using skill sets that we have amongst various levels in the organization and across various departments. So something we're very proud of. You may recall the Sparks team presenting when we presented, or Adam led, the BOCC Agenda Pilot Project, and they gave statistics and did some analysis and helped us with our recommendations to make improvements. So that's one recent example. So I guess they're not here this morning, but I do want to acknowledge their work and the highlight of the program to continuously improve our services. So congratulations to the Sparks team. Wanted you guys to be aware of that. The next item is JCPRD. Art 9 Disc Golf Course. JCPRD's Art 9 Disc Golf Course at Shawnee Mission Park has been officially named as the #6 best short disc golf course in the world by UDisc. And so that's in the world. And so I would like to see if Angie Hyduk is here from JCPRD. Yes, she is in the back. Please come forward. I think we're going to highlight this, and congratulations. It's quite an honor.
Thank you for the recognition at this meeting. We really appreciate it. Again, my name is Angie Hyduk. I'm the Public Arts Specialist at JCPRD. Art9 is a really special project, and we're so proud to have it in our collection. It started with art and recreation coming together from the very beginning. This recognition really brings it to the front of the importance of that. It's an accessible, inclusive space right next to the inclusive playground at Shawnee Mission Park. You can see half of the 10 pieces of artwork from the accessible sidewalk. And then if you're able to take the really easy walk off into the walnut grove that it sits within, you can see the 9 works of art that are nestled around the woods. So I encourage you to go out and see that and dream into the future of what art and recreation can look like together. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations again, and thank you for being here to highlight the program.
No, I just want to recognize how beautiful of a course this was. I remember in May of 2014, we cut the ribbon on that course. What's very interesting also is if you go on the course, there's, I believe, QR codes where you can learn about the artists themselves on each individual piece. And being able to interact with a gallery is a really cool experience to have with your 5-year-old. That's there, having an activity as well. So not only can you get a little bit of the wiggles out, but you get an opportunity to enjoy art, and that's just a really cool opportunity for a family. So thanks very much, a well-deserved recognition, and just another feather in the cap of JCPRD.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. And Chairman, Grace and I saw joined us, and Grace, if you could come forward and highlight the Sparks program. I did talk about it briefly, and I know we're short on time, but I wanted you guys to see Grace and know the great work that the team does. And so, Grace, if you could highlight it. Thank you.
Chairman, Commissioner, and County Manager, we're very grateful for the opportunity to recognize the Sparks program. The Sparks program is Johnson County's internal innovations initiative created to foster creativity, collaboration, and a culture of continuous improvement across our organization. This program brings together employees from different departments, agencies, and offices to learn from one another, build meaningful professional connections, and develop innovative solutions that strengthens county government and the services we provide to our communities. The success of the program is made possible by the unwavering support of our steering committee, which comprise of 6 rotating executive leaders who provide guidance and champion, innovation throughout the organization. We are deeply grateful for their leadership and commitment. Apologize, walking up the stairs is a bit rough. But most importantly, we want to recognize our employees. Their enthusiasm, curiosity, and willingness to invest their time and their talents are the driving force behind this program. Their commitment to learning, collaborating, and improving how we serve our residents is what makes Sparks such a meaningful initiative. It is truly a privilege to bring together employees from across Johnson County, creating an environment where ideas are nurtured, collaboration flourishes, and innovation becomes action. We're proud of the Sparks program accomplishments and remain committed to investing in our people, as they are the foundation of what makes Johnson County an exceptional place to serve. I will also extend a special thank you to our colleagues, Deepti Bhatia, who's here, and also Bo McCall, whose partnership, creativity, and dedication have been instrumental in building the Sparks program together. Thanks again for recognizing the Sparks program and everyone who has contributed to its success.
Grace, congratulations. Thank you. Next item, I will ask Jay Leipzig to come forward and highlight the community engagement meetings for Module 2 of the zoning and subdivision regulations.
Good morning, Jay Leipzig, Planning, Housing, and Community Development Director. These 5 more minutes left for the morning. I just wanted to announce our next round of community engagement meetings in regard to our zoning and subdivision regulations. We have 2 meetings scheduled next week on August the 18th at 6 p.m. We have one at the New Century Fieldhouse at 551 New Century Parkway. Then we have another meeting on Thursday, August 20th at 6 p.m. at the Stillwell United Methodist Church. which is 19335 Metcalf Avenue. Both meetings will be in an open house format. We'll have a brief program, an announcement from staff. We'll probably rotate that a couple of times during the 2-hour period. So just a chance for staff will be there to answer questions and meet with the public and talk about the zoning and subdivision regulations as we begin to wind this project down for the year. We'll have extensive public meetings beginning in September and October for our planning commission as well. And then hopefully we'll bring that document before you in January of 2027. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions from Mr. Leipzig? Jay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last item is the major projects update, and one project I would like to highlight because it was just completed last month is the New Century ADC video court, the adult center video court improvements, and the sheriff's personnel are currently using the facility for court appearances, and that was just completed in July. So with that, Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ferguson. Go to Commissioner comments. Start with Commissioner Allenbrand today.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank all the administrative assistants that helped me during my time off with my surgery. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't have been able to be on those Zoom meetings without all that help. So definitely people went the extra mile. And I wanted to make sure that the Friends of JCDS Floyd apartment groundbreaking, you're going to be getting an invite, but that is September the 1st. And continue to raise private funds for that, and things are going well. And we've got a couple of foundations that we're going to go before to ask for money, and I appreciate the other commissioners' help in doing this. And you'll get another update on where the fundraiser is going to be at as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Ashcraft.
Nothing, sir.
Commissioner Brewer.
Thank you. In lieu of time, I'll pass, other than to say, I think that groundbreaking is actually the 10th of September, not the 1st.
I don't know, I got an invite for the 1st.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll clarify that and make sure everybody has the right date. I look forward to everybody who's available attending. Commissioner Myers?
No report.
Commissioner Fast?
Yes, I talked about that I was able to go to the 4-H auction at the county fair, and one of Eloise's, and I purchased Eloise Star Award-winning zucchini bread, and I got several loaves, so there's a loaf out there. Please try. It's not as fresh as it was, but I froze it. It's so good. Just all I want to say, a friend of mine, some of you may know him, Andy Sandler, he ran for state rep, only lost by 3 votes to represent Mission and Roland Park a number of years ago. But the property for the Floyd Street was, his wife was a veterinarian, they moved, was his property and his wife's. And they held on it for years because they wanted it to have a community purpose. So I think, and so they are just really inspired that this community purpose will provide affordable and accessible housing for persons with developmental and intellectual disabilities. So it just like, there's a great story behind this land too.
Very good. Commissioner Hanson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make a suggestion following up on some of the conversations about the New Century Adult Detention Center and Olathe Adult Detention Center. I've had the opportunity to visit both of those places a couple of times in a professional capacity. And I would love to see the county manager's office perhaps offer the opportunity for the commissioners to visit one or both of those places, especially in light of some of the new equipment, new renovations that have been done. I think it's, as we are making these decisions, I think it's really important to have had experience putting eyes on both of those facilities. And so I would just like to make that request. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Thanks for the morning. I do want to remind folks that tomorrow morning we'll have the vote canvass at the Johnson County Election Office. We'll reconvene on Monday to finalize the count for that vote canvass. And let me be the first to say thank you to all of the election volunteers and the election staff for their work in diligently helping us express democracy last Tuesday. With that, that's all the items on our agenda. We do have a committee of the whole that we will take up. But for now, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, are we off the record? I think the original hope was that we'd get at least one of the fire districts in during the morning. We're a little long. The continuation of the cow was scheduled for 1 o'clock. So there will be some people that are expecting us to restart the cow at 1. Do we want to go ahead and take the break now and then just come back at 1 as opposed to starting and then breaking? I'm seeing nods, so we'll do that. So we'll be back at 1 o'clock. For all of you that have joined us and have been patient all morning, thank you for your patience. We appreciate you. And we will have the committee of the whole on fire district budgets starting at 1 o'clock. Thank you all.